Okay, everybody, it's time. If you think you're middle-aged and you are done and you want to get your sexy back, you want to get your groove or take your health back, whatever it is that you want, today's the day. If you're a man, take notes. If you're a woman, take extra notes. Because, this isn't just a show or a class for women only, because men, you need to know what we're going through too. The best way to love your children is to love your spouse, and the best way to love your significant other is to get to know what they're going through right now. And so fasten your seatbelt because it's time to dance and learn together. So here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom since 2011, welcome back. And I am so grateful. Even if you just tuned in yesterday for the first time, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming back. But if this is the first time that you've tuned in, someone said, hey, I'm, Danna and Robyn are going to be on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom. Just check it out. Welcome. We've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends at Lillian's Radio Show, Facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, embracing a new truth is something that we will specifically do today because many women, many men, maybe society or media, once you get to 50, maybe 45, somehow there's not that, excitement. It's like middle-aged. Now, maybe has a negative connotation, but how about if we take that myth, roll it up in a ball, and throw it in the trash? Because it doesn't have to be this way. If you look at these two lovely women, so Danna Demetre is 67, there she is, and then Robyn Thomson is 53 years old. And of course, I'm 56, so we're all of us. And by the way, I must say, it was nice seeing them dance just like me. I loved seeing the Batman or whatever that was called. But it was nice to see that because we can all relate. Now, many of you have different ages and perhaps maybe are looking at what's middle age going to look like. Look at that. Look at the arms, look at the body, look at the hair, look at the smile, look at the skin. You don't have to wither away. And so today we're going to be talking about their book called Eat, Live, Thrive Diet. And we're going to talk about our lifestyle plan. Of course, it is rev up your midlife metabolism. And so since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I'm so grateful that Robyn Thomson and Danna Demetre are here to do just that. Welcome, ladies, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom.
We're so happy to be here, Lillian. Really excited.
I'm really excited too, because when I started looking at your book, and I found out about your website, which is called Lean Healthy Ageless.com. I thought that's exactly what I aspired. And so for me, I remember when I was 19 years old, I worked at a gym, holiday spa.
Oh yeah.
That was my job. I don't know if they had holiday spas where you live,
Yeah,
but when I was 19, they had them in Florida. And I remember training a 50-plus-year-old woman, and she was gorgeous. And I thought, I want that for me. What did it for you? I would love for you to share your story. Maybe Danna, you can start first, and then we can move on to you, Robyn. So
being lean, healthy, and ageless despite your age, it is a lifestyle, and it's not one that necessarily has to be lived perfectly, Lillian, and both Robyn and I have our own stories of challenges. So when we come and share from our book, share from giving women hope to really thrive in their midlife, we recognize some of the challenges. My challenges went back a little bit into my teens when I started to diet. So often we're younger and we're looking at our body, and then we're looking at our friends. And I said what so many young girls and older women are still saying, I'm fat. Started dieting at a time that I probably really didn't have a significant weight issue. Maybe I could have benefited from maybe losing 5 pounds, but it put me on a cycle of dieting that actually was quite unhealthy. And I ended up in nursing school, because my first profession is a registered nurse. In nursing school, I ended up binging and purging 5 times a day. So I actually can really relate to people who struggle with emotional eating, because to be our best, we really do need to have a healthy relationship with food. We know food can be the cause of disease, but it can also be the cure of disease. What we put in our mouths, we are what we eat. So I actually have a lot to share and say about that unhealthy emotional connection with food. And Robyn and I dedicate 2 full chapters of our book to changing our habits from the inside out, changing our mindset. Robyn has a little different story, because she started out little chubby as a kid, but skinny as an adult.
I never know that now, right?
Oh, I was a little chubster, and but I just metamorphosed in like one summer. It seems like it happened. So I gained 5 inches. I lost 25 pounds. I came back to school, and people didn't know who I was. But and then I was lean through most of my adult years. I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, Lillian, how people think when they get to 50 or 45, I actually think it starts younger than that, is that it's kind of a downhill spiral, and it's not always necessarily just about how we look, our image, and what we look like on the outside. But what happens is we start getting used to feeling kind of just mediocre, or maybe for some people feeling not well, not healthy, stressed, no energy, not vitality. And so that ageless pursuit, when you are shifting your diet, what you're eating, how you're living, your whole lifestyle, it brings back a whole next level of vitality that gives you the motivation to continue on and to really shift from the blahs, like my life is over, I'm never going to be young and vibrant again, to, wow, I have a whole nother half of my life to live it to the fullest.
That's right.
Feel the best I can, and be as ageless and as beautiful as I can be from the inside out. But like Danna was saying, also for me, being lean and relatively lean and healthy most of my life, and then of course those perimenopause years started, and everything shifted for me. I'd been coaching people in health and weight loss for 20 years at that point, and all of a sudden what I was telling them to do wasn't working for me anymore. So I was like so out of integrity. I said, something has to change. I have to figure out what's the key, and started doing a lot of research, and the strategies that I unraveled and figured out at that time to change for my own health, my own vitality, and my own weight are a lot of what's in the book and the plan section of the book.
Yeah, and I love how honest you guys are with your journeys as well. And for those of you who would like a copy, so we're going to do something challenging today. We're giving away 3 of these books. So for those of you who would like this book, whether you are watching later on YouTube or you're listening to a podcast, we're going to be giving away 3 books. And this is what you're going to do. I want you to share why you want to be ageless. Why do you want to be lean? What is it about this that spoke to you? And then we're going to pick 3 random. So everybody has a chance to win 3 random, but it has to be, you have to take the time. So you can instant message me, of course, at Lillian's Radio Show. So facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. Or you can text me or call 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. So we're going to pick 3 at random. So everybody has a chance to win. So share right away so that you can be considered to win this book. It's really, I love how you guys started this. It started off as something that you were doing, and then all of a sudden you realize, okay, this is working. It's working well. So how did you create this formula for success?
Oh, again, we never, in all our years coaching and sharing, ever share anything that isn't working for us.
Correct.
And so as we started to communicate, because just like Robyn, I had been health coaching, weight loss coaching for years, we kept tweaking it because we're finding whether it's, as we share, the diet is in 3 phases. It's an elimination phase where you take out what we call food culprits.
Yes.
There's a lot of food sensitivities people don't realize they have that hold back weight loss. But not only that, they're causing us to age faster. They are causing all sorts of other symptoms. So as you remove those, we started to discover maybe some other foods that also needed to be removed and potentially tested.
Well, I was going to say, we started when we first created this, we were thinking the women that we were coaching needed a cleanse and a detox. So we did it on a more short term. We created our original program and we launched it out to our coaching clients. It was only a 7-day program at that time. It was really short, but the results that people were getting were phenomenal. And as they kept coming back to us, telling us about this, we said, okay, well, we need to add this and we need to lengthen this 7 days now. And then, well, what are they going to do at the end of the 7 days or the end of the 14 days? So we kept adding on to it. It took several years. I don't know, about 3 years.
Right. Because as you know, you have to ultimately end with a doable lifestyle. Our philosophy
Absolutely.
You need to lose weight in a very similar way you're going to keep it off. And so that was our question. Okay, this first phase, this light detox cleanse is super effective for jump-starting weight loss, improving health, vitality, energy. That's great. But they're not going to stay on a full elimination diet for the rest of their lives.
They can't.
No, so they're going to discover which foods, that's phase 2, discover which foods are truly holding them back by testing, bringing one in at a time. But where are we going to live 80% of the time? So this is what's wonderful about Eat, Live, Thrive diet is not a one-size-fits-all. There's a protocol, a program that everybody can follow, but what ultimately they land with in lifestyle will be different for every woman. And even in the elimination phase, Lillian, we have 3 levels because we realized level 3, which is what the original plan was just this highest level, eliminating about 9 foods and not drinking coffee for 2 weeks or whatever. Not everybody can or will do that. Yeah. So where can we start them where they can have some success?
Baby steps.
We started with removing all grains and added sugar for 14 days. And what we found is so many people went, I can do that. And then because they did so well, the next time through, they might add some other foods to test.
Well, okay. So you know what? That would be a great place to kind of stop a second, because before we go into the details of this elimination and all the choices that people can make, let's talk about the challenges. Many of us, as we want to change our lifestyle, because it doesn't mean, because I truly believe that an elimination diet or elimination process, everybody should go through that, because we have things that we immediately are allergic to, and there are long-term delayed reactions to some foods that we don't even know because we've lived with it for a long time. So let's talk about, some of the challenges that people that have come to you, maybe people can identify, my listeners, my friends, are listening to you going, I want to identify with some of the challenges that some of your clients have that maybe they didn't even know was a challenge that you guys have been able to repair.
Well, and I will say, Lillian, people wonder, especially as they age, why, what Robyn said, why what was working once isn't working anymore.
Yeah.
So they have challenges. They go, I know I'm having a hard time losing weight. I know I don't look and feel my best, but they don't know why. The challenge is why. Well, we've identified several key reasons why a large majority, especially of women, but men too, are struggling and not getting results. One, our carbohydrate threshold diminishes greatly as we age. As early as 30, how we metabolize carbohydrates and use them for energy after we eat them starts to decline. And it's different in different people, but we know we get better at storing it as fat and less efficient in using it as fuel. And that has to do with the carbohydrate threshold, but couple that with a large percentage, growing percentage of people, especially women, are insulin resistant, which is a whole nother level of carbohydrate threshold declining.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you also have what we talked about, food sensitivity. So food sensitivity you could have eaten a particular food, let's say corn, your whole life, could have been fine. And as we age, things change, and you could actually develop a sensitivity to that particular food and not realize that you might be looking for, so many people look for digestive issues when they think that they might have a sensitivity to something, but there's so many other ways it can show up. It could be a headache. Joint pain is a huge one.
Great point.
Emotional health. So depression, anxiety, that actually can be caused from a food sensitivity. And then, of course, weight gain or the inability to lose weight is another what we call symptoms, so to speak, of a food sensitivity. So you might be thinking, I've always eaten this food. I can have this food, no problem. And that might be the one thing that's holding you back from moving to the next level in your health or in your weight.
And then one other thing particular to aging is we start to lose muscle mass. We lose it, really from the time we're probably 25 or whatever, but it really accelerates in our 40s, 50s, my age, in my 60s. If I'm not exercising and using my muscles every day, I'm going backwards. And so muscles are the engine of our body. So we talk about the benefit, of course, of a well-balanced fitness program. It doesn't have to be crazy. And as we look at that with people, they're like, oh, okay, so then we come with the solution, which is the eating plan.
Now, Lillian asked about some specific people, so I just want to mention a couple different. So one of our clients that I can think of off the top of my head did not realize that she was sensitive to eggs. And so taking that out of her diet has helped her feel so much better. She's not having, she was having digestive issues. She didn't know what it was from. And she took the eggs out, along with taking all the other foods out that she was eliminating. When she went to test those foods and testing one at a time, when she got to eggs, she tested those eggs for 3 days in a row. She's like, uh-oh, I don't do well with eating eggs. I don't feel good. I have a little bit of indigestion. So now she's eliminated them for the most part. And we always tell people, hey, it's not that you can never have this food for the rest of your life. That's just ridiculous to even think it's all or nothing. But you get to choose. And most likely you're going to choose based on the evidence of your body telling you, I'm going to keep this out of my diet for the most part. But if I have a special occasion or I choose to eat it, it's my choice. And I know I might pay the price for a couple days or whatever it is. And then of course, the other thing that we find with quite a few clients is sugar. And with sugar, because that is one of the foods that they eliminate in any of the levels. And we always say, do you really need to test sugar? But it is amazing what people do find when they test, because some people we found can have very small amounts of sugar periodically, and it doesn't trigger them. It doesn't send them over the edge. But other clients, other people that have gone through the program, they will find that they've taken it out, they're feeling amazing, they feel in control of their entire appetite and just in control of what they're eating. But as soon as they add that sugar back in, a couple things will happen. One is they want more sugar
Of course.
immediately. And it's that reward center in the brain that can't even handle a little bit. It just sends them to wanting more. The other thing that will happen for some is that by taking in that added sugar is that cravings for other food. Their blood sugar goes out of whack and they start craving all sorts of foods, and they don't feel as good and they don't feel as stable and as steady and as in control of their choices for food from a physiological standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the whole emotional part of what sugar. People will go to sugar a lot of times and sweets for comfort. And we've had one of our clients, she's down about 65 pounds now, and she was using food as her comfort.
Sure.
And that's what we talk a lot about in the book. It's not just physical, what you're doing on the plan, but it's what your mindset is, what your belief system is. And she did a lot of prayer and realized, hey, I'm going to food for comfort. And she felt like through prayer, God was saying, no, come to me for comfort, not food. And that made all the difference for her.
One size does not fit all. And I appreciate, Robyn, that what you just said, that everybody is unique. And, unless you are in total denial and you're not open to changing your lifestyle, you will know what you're sensitive to. You will know. I was telling my good friend, she is I call her a Swiss Army knife because she does everything. And she's a nutritionist and all the coaches. She's so well versed. And I was saying to her that we just did an event with Dr. Michael Greger that she organized, and she made some cookies that had almonds in it. And I was told that in my delayed reaction, I'm not allergic to almonds, but I know that I break out in hives when I have almonds. But because I got this delayed reaction test done, I thought I'm going to gobble it up. And I told her this morning, as a matter of fact, I said, I made a choice. I never eat almonds, but because she made it and I knew it would be delicious, I made a choice. Maybe I ate too much, but I had a big old wealth. So choosing that mindset as opposed to deprivation, and
Right.
I can't have it, and all of a sudden we start going through this negative self-talk, sabotage, but one size does not fit all. And I love the fact that we get to try different things and eliminate it, see what is causing. Now you talked about sugar and you talked about grain. Level 1. Let's talk about level 2.
Level 2, we're adding things like nuts
Or taking out.
We're
adding to the list.
We're adding to the list to eliminate of nuts and dairy, legumes. Anything else on that? No, I think that's it. Because again, these are common food sensitivities. They nuts people can just simply overeat if they love them, and it gives them again the opportunity to remove them for a bit and let their body kind of calm down, and then in phase 2, introduce them, as Robyn mentioned, over a course of 3 days. They're going to really try that. Now, if they start to have really negative symptoms right away, they're going to know and just remove them immediately. But it's very empowering, because you said it exactly right, Lillian. We never say, you can't do this, you can't do that, this is a bad food. We say it's your choice. And just like your reaction with the almond, it's like, yeah, you did it, but you probably won't do it next time.
Lesson learned. And I happened to glance down, and Kimberly Kirshner, she's the one that is an unbelievable Swiss Army knife of all that's nutrition and good. And she's a health coach as well. And she said, next event, no almonds. So it's a win-win. I got to experience it with almonds. Now I've challenged her. So it all depends on our perspective. The moment we feel that we're depriving ourselves of anything, somehow something kicks in us and says, I have to have it. I got to have it. I'm being, and it's not about losing weight. First of all, whenever I coach people, we shift that language to releasing, because what happens when you lose your keys? You find it again. So, so that everybody else can find it except you. So we release the weight. And then the next thing is that we choose to be healthy.
Yes.
And so that choice, and I saw that in your book. And by the way, I want to remind everybody, anyone who would like this book, we're giving away 3 books. Here's the challenge. I want you to write, you don't have to write a whole journal, a whole page, why you want to release weight, why you want to be lean and ageless, why do you want to eat, live, thrive, why is it? And, let us know your age as well. I made the choice when I was 19 that I did not want to be obese. And of course, what I really wanted was to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So our brain does not identify the don't and the, so what do we want? We want to be healthy. So even if you're not overweight or maybe just have 1 pound or whatever it is, if you are doing things that are unhealthy with food, this can set you up also. I don't know if you've had other people say that I don't need to release any weight, but perhaps this can set me up with a healthier relationship with food, just like it happened to you, Danna and Robyn as well. So having a healthy relationship. So here's what we're going to do. You can instant message me at facebook.com/Lillian's radio show, or you can text me at 407-373-5959. Robert, can you write that? If you can write the phone number as well. So you can call or text me. I'm not going to answer the phone, so leave a message. We're going to pick 3 random. So even if you're not the 3rd caller or the 5th caller, we're going to put all of these in and we're going to pick 3. And that could be you. So again, mindset.
Yes.
I'm never going to win. Of course, if you don't apply, if you don't try, you're never going to win. You're absolutely right. And we tend to want to be right about what we believe. So here is your challenge. Get out of your comfort zone. Write down why this is your desire. And instant message me at Lillian's radio show on Facebook. If you're watching later on YouTube or listening on podcasts later on, you too can do this, because I'm going to wait till tomorrow to pick the individual. So as many of you send it to me, 3 of you will win this book and start your health back. Get your health back. So I wanted to talk about the mindset, and I wanted to, address that first before going into the details, because so many of us go, another diet, another diet. But I love how you start with elimination, because many of us don't know. We have this, our face is red, we have rashes all over, we have hair that's falling out, and I have people look at me with red blotchy skin going, I'm not allergic to anything.
Well, it is a great place to start. And most everybody that is kind of feeling desperate and unhappy with health, wellness, vitality, weight, they do need a bit of a jump start. But again, to us, it's a very gentle jump start because it's so doable. And one of the things we haven't mentioned is, even though on all the levels, you, for those 14 days, get rid of all grain and all added sugar, we do have dozens and dozens of recipes, and we allow for 1 tablespoon a day of either raw organic honey or pure maple syrup within the context of the recipe. So whether it's snickerdoodle muffins, lemon poppy seed muffins, we have a sun butter, we call it a sun cookie made with sunflower seed butter, that's completely grain-free.
Chocolate bliss truffles.
Chocolate bliss truffles. There are so many things that you can have that, one, you don't feel like you're giving up sugar.
Correct.
And you don't feel like you're giving up grains, because that part's important. The other thing, you used the word a little bit ago about trying. We really try to move people from, I'm going to try to do this, to train. Move from trying to training, because you're not going, anybody that's trying to learn a new skill, whether it's snow skiing, speaking another language, we learn it and master it by training for it. And so many of us have gotten stuck in unhealthy lifestyles, and we keep on saying that unhealthy self-talk, I can't do it, I always fail, oh well, I might as well wait till Monday. And we're about, trained to have a healthy mindset, to identify the lies you believe, those messages that are becoming your dominant thoughts, and probably have been for years, that are actually driving both your emotions and your behavior. You feel like you're out of control. But I always say, I've never seen a cookie jump in someone's mouth. So I have.
In my defense, it jumped in my mouth.
There you go. That's
I'm
new
joking,
to
I'm
me.
joking.
But the point is, I think a lot of times people just think, what's wrong with me? And it is, we're on automatic pilot, but it can be changed. It does take some time. But while you're practicing and training with healthier lifestyle habits, you're also training for healthier thinking habits, which take a little bit longer,
Yeah.
but they will build a foundation. That's how I came out of bulimia, how I came out of all this horrible emotional connection to food that was not serving me well. I was acting out of control, but I learned to change my mindset.
I love that. Would you like to add anything to that, Robyn?
Well, just as Danna was talking about the trying, when somebody says, I'm going to try to eat this way next week, or I'm going to try to lose this much pounds, or I'm going to try to change my diet, I pretty much know that they're not going to do it because there's no commitment in a try.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to just stay in your old habits. So we like to call people out on that. You know, if we hear clients, because we do a coaching program also, virtual coaching. So if they use that word try, we usually pick up on it.
Yeah,
And
I have no desire to do, but I want to look good, which is part of our ego. You know,
Yeah.
wanting to look, I'm going to look good right now. I'm going to say, I'm going to try to do this, but I have no intention after we finish this call to go. But so that's a great point.
Yeah, and it's
Do it
unconscious.
or don't.
It's unconscious because people will speak that not really thinking, oh, I'm not going to do this. But their intention at the moment is that they really want to do it, but they're not making a commitment. And so when you change the wording to I'm training to, or I commit to doing this week, it's huge. And journaling and doing little, and you don't have to do, I commit to the next year of not eating, bite-sized pieces, bite-sized steps. Danna's saying small steps taken consistently add up in a big way.
Yeah. So I wrote an article called Happy New Moment because, this happened a couple of years ago. We were at a New Year's Eve celebration, and prior to, like that 2 weeks prior to leading to New Year's Eve, I kept hearing like, oh, I can't wait for this year to be over. Like the year did something to them. Oh my God, I can't wait till the new year. And they're miserable in 2017, but come 2018, everything is great all of a sudden. And so I took that, can we just bottle up that attitude with every single moment that we have in our life? We made a mistake or a growth opportunity. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Oh, happy new moment. And so we are able to start all over again. Who needs to wait till Monday? Who needs to wait till the end of the month?
That's right. So we call it a fresh start, and that fresh start doesn't have to wait till Monday. It doesn't even have to wait till tomorrow. Let's say you fell off your plan mid-morning or in the afternoon. It's literally your next meal, your next bite of food, your next thought can be a fresh start.
Yes, and that makes the decision right there. I'm in it to win this. So I am, that mindset that you cover this in the book. And again, for those of you, if you want a copy of this book, you know what to do. And if you don't know what to do, type it down and Robert will respond to you. Okay, so you talked about the elimination, the first 14 days, and people start feeling better. And many people don't know they could feel better. And that's the myth that we need to step out of, that sometimes there is a better out there. And
much better. Yes. I mean, consistently too, Lillian. I think this is not just like some people are going to feel better. Almost everybody really notices people's, how fast they lose weight. Yeah, that varies. How quickly their body detoxifies and re-energizes, it varies. But we consistently see women between the 7 and 14th day mark just being like, oh my goodness. And when you get there, how you feel. I mean, you think about every single day, the quality of our day is so impacted by, is my head clear? Do I have a headache? Do I have aches and pains? Am I dragging, just feeling like I need one more cup of coffee? And when you start to experience vitality and energy, I mean, at 67, I feel like I'm in my 40s. I don't know what it is. It's very rare to not be high energy. And I know that has to do with a consistently healthy lifestyle. And I believe, and we believe, every woman can totally notch up her health, her wellness, her vitality, and definitely shed the excess pounds. And I'm thinking of a gal named Sandy who she struggled for about 10 years just thinking there's no answer. And she went on our elimination and lost about 35.
Well, and I was going to mention she started through the holidays.
Yes.
That's a tough time to start. I will give her that. Kudos.
We had several amazing stories of women starting actually before Thanksgiving, being on our program through the holidays and having the best results that they ever had.
Yeah.
And you can eat such great stuff too.
Yeah, they would have a few things on Thanksgiving. They would choose maybe a couple, when we call them indulgence days, they're reasonable. And they'd stay as close to their elimination plan as they could. But again, it's about giving yourself grace and just restarting, immediately. And you don't have to do this perfectly. We always say it's about progress over perfection. It is that perfectionistic attitude that self-sabotages, and women give up like, oh, well, look at there, I failed again. No, you're training and you are doing better each week and you're getting better and better. And by the way, when we talk about lifestyle, the elimination phase is not something you just go through once. You go through the elimination, you test as many foods as you can, you move into a lifestyle plan where you bring some of those foods back, kind of figure out how much of these can I eat? Am I still losing or maintaining my weight loss? And then when you feel like you're veering off track a little bit, or you're having some food issues, but you're not sure which food, you circle back to elimination. Sometimes then it might be 7 days. Yes. So elimination is part of the lifestyle that helps reboot, reset. We have some people that love elimination so much they might stay there for 6 weeks or do a low level 1 elimination most of the time because they love the simplicity of it. When they've learned how to cook and do alternative types of cooking for grain free and so forth, they're like, this is my place to live.
Yeah.
And I agree with you about Sandy. I got so excited about saying that she was in the holidays and she lost. What were you wanting?
But all I was going to say about Sandy is she really believed, and she's in her late 50s. I'm never going to be as lean as I used to be. I'm just going to have to live with it. This is just the way it is. And now she is like always on Facebook posting, girls, you can do it. I just came back from vacation. I didn't gain any weight. I'm enjoying my life. I love it. She found out her combination.
Good job, Sandy. And we have a message from Emma. She says, I love Danna and Robyn. They are a huge part of my wellness journey. So that's wonderful.
Hi, Emma. Hey, Emma, glad you're watching.
And I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching, Brandy and, of course, Kimberly and Emma. And, I know Jenny is watching as well. So hello there. And let's see who else. And of course, Robert, I'm glad that he's watching too. So so for those of you who would like a copy of this book, just write why you want this. What is your commitment today? What is your commitment today? Not try, do. And send it to me at Lillian's Radio Show. So it's facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. But if you're in Facebook, you just put at Lillian's Radio Show and you'll find it, or search for it, the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. And then, or you can call or text me at 407-373-5959. You can leave a message or you can just text it. We're picking 3 people, and whoever enters has an equal opportunity. 3 will be selected, and you can start right away. It doesn't even have to be the holidays. That's not even a deterrent as of now. Not even a deterrent. Okay, so the discovery phase. So now you've eliminated everything from your diet, and now you're going to start bringing it back, or have you gone through that? You've eliminated from start to finish 14 days, and now you're going to start reintroducing?
Right, one at a time.
One at a time.
One at a time for 3 days.
Yes.
And we in the book, we give you, we have a worksheet. You can actually download the worksheet so you can print up a bunch of them for each day at our website, eatlivethrive.diet.com. And we have some other tools on there that are free tools, worksheets. We have some audio recordings. But yes, you'll test each food. You eat it twice a day, small servings. for 3 days in a row. And you're journaling, you're writing down how you feel, how's your energy, do you have sinus issues, do you have digestive problems, how's your aches and pains, how's your emotions. I mean, we give you a whole list of things to look for, and we write out different symptoms that are typically known for that particular type of food. And then you, at the end of the 3 days, you decide, hey, I don't have any food sensitivity to this. I haven't gained any weight. I haven't had any issue. So this is a food, for example, maybe it's dairy. And this is a food that tests okay with you. So from there, you can say, okay, I can add that little bit of dairy back in. I want to have cream in my coffee. And now I'm going to move on to the next food. And you start testing the next food. And we give you an order to test that's ideal, but you can test whichever you want. So say your next food you start testing might be nuts. And for me, I would be testing and I would be eating nuts and being like, my tummy feels a little tightness and I feel like a little bit of kind of bloating. That's what happens when I eat most nuts. And so if I start noticing that right away, I might have another serving or have the serving the next day just to see, is it really that food that I'm thinking that is giving it to me? But by the end of the, say, day and a half into it, I know for now nuts are not good for me. I'm not going to keep testing them. I'm not going to keep on the next day or the next day because I already know, oh gosh, this food doesn't do well for me. And I'm going to just say this food is going to be one of those foods that I'm going to probably keep out of my diet for the most part. Again, like I never say never,
Right.
But I'm going to choose, if I ever want to have it, it's going to be a choice. And I know I'll probably pay a small price or larger price, depending on what the sensitivity is.
Yeah, I have some people that share with me, like, well, I can have tomatoes, but only if there's salsa. I can't eat a tomato, or they have like these rules. Like I can't have this, but I can have it this way. I can't have peanuts, but I can have peanut butter, or I can have do you find that food combinations, like, so when you do the elimination portion, you start returning it. Let's say I start with dairy. I realize dairy is not good. I stop dairy and I add something else. So let's say that something else is good for me. Maybe it's eggs, which is not. I don't eat eggs. And so let's say the eggs are great for me, and let's say the dairy is good for me. Do I keep the dairy and the eggs?
That's a good. Well, yeah.
Allergies are intermittent, and
Right.
perhaps maybe I don't react to this, but the combination of the two, now I react to it because it's
there's a couple things going on, and just as an example, also with dairy, all dairy's not equal. You might do fine with a hard cheese, but you don't do well with cream or soft cheese. So that's part of what we detail in the book, and when we do our Eat, Live, Thrive Academy coaching, we help people kind of discern that. When it comes to dairy, if people test okay on all or part, yes, they can leave it in. If they test nuts, and again, nuts aren't all the same. Robyn has a couple things she can eat and many things she can't. So if you're taking a serving of mixed nuts and you do fine, a couple servings of mixed nuts over 2 days, then you don't have to test them individually. That's part of discerning. But what I do want to point out, Lillian, is when we get to grains, we test one at a time, and even if you test fine, you put it back on the shelf.
Good.
Because we got two things going on. We've got, does this grain work for me? Because again, we're not looking so much for allergy, although you could find an allergy. We're looking for sensitivity, which is a little bit different. It can be a part of allergy, but sometimes you can have a sensitivity, and it's not a true allergy. It is that your body doesn't digest well, or you just can't lose weight when you eat that food. So with the grains, because we've got this carbohydrate threshold issue, and we know that grains are high in simple carbohydrates, they test rice for a couple days. Oh, it works fine for me. Nevertheless, I put it on a shelf. I don't eat any other grain, and now I'm going to bring in corn. I'm going to test corn. Oh, well, that doesn't work for me. Obviously, ideal non-GMO corn and so forth.
Exactly, because we might react to the wheat, the GMO and the wheat.
Right.
And I've been gluten-free since before it was fashionable. So 1996 is when I became gluten-free, and there was nothing. But now there's so much substitution out there.
Corn.
Great job with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of substitution, but you have to look at a lot of the ingredients, because in a lot of the substitution foods, there's a lot of processed, not good ingredients.
Oh no, I'm talking about like if
like
if you can't have rice, you can have quinoa, for example.
Yeah.
There's a lot, and there's different breads. Like you can't have this kind of bread, but then there's other kinds of breads. And of course, always look at the ingredients, because if you can't pronounce it, don't even go there.
Right. Well, and I think also we have this kind of feeling about American wheat that because of the way we process our wheat in America, for the most part, even if you test okay and you don't have any significant symptoms or weight gain, we like to look at the conventional wheat in America as a fun food, because most people just do not do as well as they think they do. They may not, again, they may still be able to lose weight.
They're not aware that they could feel better.
Yeah, and I think when we just know enough about the wheat source, if you go to Italy or somewhere in Europe, people that are very sensitive to even gluten, they think it's gluten, but they go to Europe and eat bread or pasta and do fine. Why is that? So we're just, we're looking at all those things. And then when we get to lifestyle, let's say people have 4 grains they can eat and, all these different foods, then the question is how much and how often, because we've got the carbohydrate threshold, we've got the number of calories we're bringing back in. What we know is the average American woman eats about 400 grams of carbohydrate a day, which is way more than she needs. But when they're on the elimination phase of our diet, they're eating 80 to 120. When they move to lifestyle, most women are going to do much better at 200 or less. A few that are very active and metabolize carbohydrates well might go to 50, but for the most part, most women, and we can...
When she says women, ageless women.
Not mature women, yes.
Yeah.
And even some young women are slow metabolisms. They have low carbohydrate thresholds. So that's just part of, people always go, how do I know? It is a trial. It's a science experiment with your own body, but it's so worth doing.
And I will say one great reason to use the cycles of the phases, you go through and then come back to elimination, retest, because once you've been through it, it's like you've trained, you had your training wheels on, you've gone through it. Now you're going to go through it again. And each time you go through that elimination and then into discovery, you will learn more. You will get more details. We had one of our clients who, she was in so much pain and had such terrible joint aches and pains. She was using a cane. She was a walker sometimes, and they really were concerned that she was going to end up in a wheelchair. She went on our program. She went into elimination. She did it really well. I think she did it longer than 2 weeks, but within a week, she was feeling better. Within 2 to 3 weeks, the cane was gone. The walker was gone.
She was biking.
She was feeling amazing. So she goes through the discovery phase, and as she went through the discovery phase, she felt like she didn't have any sensitivities. So then she moves into lifestyle and started adding things back in regularly, and then came back to us and said, I'm hurting again. I don't have any sensitivities. But I said, well, no, you do. We need to go through this again and, just look at it more clearly, more deeply, and maybe you will need to test a food for a little bit longer to see what that result is. But you do, because you went from here to there, and the joint aches came back. Joint pain is a symptom of sensitivity. Not all joint pain, but
for the most part. Yeah, it's inflammation, and all the products that you're eliminating create inflammation. So therefore, basically what I'm hearing, and I want to acknowledge my sponsors as well, is all my sponsors are about responsibility. This classroom, if you take one word when it comes to the classroom, it's responsibility, but the kind of responsibility that leads to empowerment and freedom, not the blame, shame, fault, or duty. It's truly, I am making a choice to take my ownership for my life. And, by the way, I've been listening to, Robyn and Danna talk about how, we need to be our own be our own guinea pig. But the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry has us as a guinea pig. Might as well You can't trust that. Might as well do it ourselves, because no one will take care of us better than we take care of ourselves. And if we're sabotaging ourselves, we have got to change that mindset as well. So responsibility, taking ownership and saying, if I created it, I can uncreate it. That's the beauty about empowered responsibility. And so I want to encourage you, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber. While you're there, check out all my social media, like, follow, share this class as well with your friends, and so that we can grow the classroom. There's not a lot of dialogue on television, on radio, about how to take ownership of our lives. It's usually about who screwed up and what somebody did to me. But if we can just stop and say, we need to form a community of responsibility. And that's what I love about my sponsors. Every single one is taking ownership and responsibility, and they're taking a stand with the classroom. Without them, there would be no class. And so I want to acknowledge Liberty Health Share at libertyhealthshare.org. And of course, you can find all of you, just click on the sponsors page. Keep Me Safe Organics, 100% organic, non-synthetic, affordable. Get 10% off by entering Lily10. Again, start your journey. We protect ourselves with toxins all over our house. We lock it up, but then we put it all over our body. So those are other reasons why we can't release the weight. And so first alternative care, 24/7, non-urgent care, dermatology, and 3 hours a year of behavioral health counseling for the entire household for $45 a month. Dr. Stephen Grable, Jacksonville, Florida, integrative, holistic, functional medicine, where he treats you as an individual, as a unique person, not as a cookie cutter. The pharmacy in Merritt Island, mention, of course, you get 20% off your first purchase when you mention that Lily sent you. And they're in Merritt Island, Florida. Live Longer Medical, that's working to help us from the inside out. They'll be on tomorrow to talk about peptides in the classroom. So I'm excited to speak about and learn about peptides and how they can help our bodies and accomplish our goals as well. And finally, you can be the enrolled student. You can be a part of growing the classroom by your time, treasure, and your talent. Figure out ways that you can support our sponsors the way that they're supporting the classroom. So I just wanted to stop and say that, because many times we don't acknowledge those people who are taking a stand with you. And the most important, and what I hear and I learn from this, I hate saying the word diet, but it's an awareness. It's an awareness, because from this awareness comes a lifestyle that will lead to responsible ownership of your life, responsible ownership. And so I would like for you to, if you want a copy of this book, we're giving 3 away. Go to @Lillian's Radio Show on Facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, and instant message me. Let me know why you're making a commitment today, how you're making a commitment, and that way you will be added to the giveaway. And or you can call or text me at 407-373-5959. Either way, no matter what, take ownership, take your health back. It's amazing how a little tweak can make you an ageless person. I want to thank you, Robyn and Danna, for being in the classroom today. I know that we're going to have our little teacher's pet tips at the end of after we finish the podcast. But for those who are listening to the podcast, please know that you can join us, and YouTube. You can always join us live at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. You've heard that already. And so that we can learn and grow together. One last tips that I'm going to give 30 seconds to each one of you. Let's start with Danna. Last tips for taking your health back.
First thing I would say is today's the day to take action. Tomorrow never comes, so just take action. Second thing I would say, in taking that action, do what you can. Don't focus on what you can't do. You don't always have to go do major prep. One of the reasons that we do level 1 elimination, take out grains and added sugar, is not too hard to do unless all you have in your house is bread and rice and corn. It's simple.
And you're having other issues. You're dealing with other health issues.
I would say identify at least one lie that you know is holding you back and counteract that lie with an impactful, powerful truth that you're going to say instead. And you can learn in the book why it will literally rewire your neuron pathways.
Awesome. Okay.
I would say is to remember that health, lifestyle, weight loss is a journey. It's not a destination, and you're going to take one step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And if you need support, come to our academy. It's eatwiththriveacademy.com, and we can help coach you as well.
Very good. And then you can go also to leanhealthyageless.com. Thank you so much. We're going to have a little private session with all the teachers' pets that linger on and answer any questions anybody would have. I am so grateful that you guys have stepped out of your comfort zone and you're taking your message out and making a difference. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian, McDermott, Robyn, and Danna, wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so I am excited. If you guys want this book, don't just post it on the comment section. You need to instant message me. Instant message me at Lillian's radio show, or you can call or text me 407-373-5959. The number is in the comment below. Also, I want you guys to maybe share this with others who would like, and I'm not going to pick, I'm not going to pull, and it's not about a judgment. This is about you making a commitment, not for the new year, but for now. Make a commitment and declare it. Declare it, and then send it to me, and then I'll put it in a little bowl. And when your name is picked, you're going to be grateful that you did this. Okay, so with that in mind, there were a couple of questions that I had here, and I want to talk about intermittent fasting because you addressed that in the book, and I want to be able to talk about this. This is the latest craze. I was over a store right before the class started, and this young lady who looked lighter than she did, like the last time I saw her, she told me she was doing intermittent fasting, but she is now sabotaging herself because she is stress eating. Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about intermittent fasting and how to use it properly.
We talk about it a lot in the book, Lillian, and part of it is, especially if you're that woman in midlife years, 45, 55 plus, there is a higher incidence of adrenal fatigue. Mm-hmm. And you don't always know if you have it. Some people do because they feel fatigued all the time, but on blood tests, you can see if your cortisol levels, stress hormone levels are off. So Robyn and I really want to encourage women, especially midlife women, to start slow in the intermittent fasting. It's actually not a new thing. It's actually a very old thing. Mm-hmm. If we go back in time, people didn't have such long eating windows because intermittent fasting is not a type of eating or diet plan. It's about when you eat. And the whole concept is to shorten the number of hours a day you eat, your eating window, and lengthen the number of hours a day that you fast. And what we know is back in the day, we use the example of a farm wife, probably she just naturally fasted maybe 14, 15 hours.
Right, because they were up at the crack of dawn and they were sending people out on their chores and all of that. Nobody ate right away. They would go out and do work and then come back in and have a breakfast, probably around 9 or 10, and then they would eat a little bit earlier in the day. They weren't eating late at night like we did, and then they didn't snack all night watching TV. So, it could be anywhere between 14 hours probably on average, but we know if you start slow, there's even some amazing studies out there that show that for women, fasting for 13 hours, which is not that long, that would mean stopping eating at 7 p.m. and at night,
Mhm.
and starting again eating at 8 a.m. in the morning. I mean, that's very minimal, but that has shown to reduce the risk of breast cancer, the recurrence of breast cancer in women. That's not a extreme type of fast. I mean, you eat dinner, say 6 o'clock, you finish eating at 7, and then you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not anything. But a lot of people are eating into 11, 12 o'clock at night, and then they wake up in the morning and they're eating at 7 a.m. and they're eating that whole time. So our bodies don't need that. We will encourage our women to start 12 to 13 hours a day on average. And then if they want to, just a couple days a week to bump that up. They can maybe fast 14 to 16 hours if they feel good.
Yeah, you have a calendar. You know, like you say, okay, on Monday you if that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and you have like the hours, suggested hours that people can go through that intermittent fasting.
And you don't have to be legalistic about it. You can say, I'm going to do a 16-hour fast, but if you're hitting the wall and you can tell your blood sugar's dropping, by all means that day, break your fast. What you mentioned about the gal you ran into, sometimes people do what we call rebound eating, and that means they've fasted maybe almost too long. Their body hasn't adapted well enough, so all of a sudden they're either super hungry or, again, an unhealthy mindset that says, well, I've been fasting all day, I can eat anything, and they go overboard. So that's the other thing we really want to address is let your body, our bodies are adaptable, but it takes some time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also fasting out there that a lot of male bodybuilders are using, and it works great for them, but it is not for us ageless women. And they're going 20 hours of fasting, and they're eating all their calories in 4 hours. Fasting is good. It puts some stress on the body, but that is way too much stress on our body, and it can work against you. If you're stressing the body that much, you're going to start pumping out extra cortisol, and cortisol is a fat storing hormone, so you don't want to do that extreme fasting. That might work for a 25-year-old male bodybuilder, but it's probably not going to work for a 53-year-old ageless woman.
Yeah.
Well, I must confess that I don't know if you know who Dr. Michael Clapper is, but Michael Clapper has helped so many people who have been ill or maybe want to kickstart or detox their body with water fasts. And I did a 5-day water fast.
Wow.
And he guided me, and it's up in if for those of you who would like to consider this, as he guided me, he also gave, for instance, and suggestions and all that. Like, for example, people who are overweight and are not eating well can't just start doing a fast because of the toxins in their body. And so I totally get it. And, you know, if people that are doing that kind of fasting and then they're maybe eating junk food, you know, after that. So there's so many different, but Michael Clapper guided me not only through the 5 days of my water fast, but he also guided me after and how to break the fast and a couple of days after breaking fast. So there is a technique that you can't just do this willy-nilly. So
and that's a different kind of fast, Lillian. I mean,
sure.
I have a friend who does every year. She does probably a 10-day water and broth fast, and that's different than making the fasting, like the intense long-term fasting, a lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Very, very
we got to do, you know, they say, you know, do everything in moderation. I remember Dr. Esselstyn on my show, and he goes, oh, okay, so do people want erectile dysfunction in moderation? Do people want, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Everything, but those things.
Like I believe, and I didn't say it after this, and I said, you know, Dr. Esselstyn was telling me that this woman came, Dr. Esselstyn, I do your diet, I follow your diet. And I don't know if, for those of you who don't know who Dr. Esselstyn is, he was featured in the documentary Forks Over Knives and many other documentaries. And he's helped so many whole food, plant-based doctors, lifestyle doctors, and helped them in so many different ways. And so he said on the show that this woman came to him and said, Dr. Esselstyn, I follow your plan 80% of the time. And he goes, well, that's not my plan. My plan is 100% of the time. I don't know. But I'm like, I always say, well, 90%, 80% of the time, that 10%, that 20%, don't mess with me. Because usually, once you start feeling good, the things you gravitate towards aren't that bad.
We have the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 rule. I mean, and that's, we don't eat perfectly for we eat on plan 80 to 90% of the time, and we allow that 10% of grace and fun food or 20%.
Yeah, because when you do, it's again going back to I choose. I can have anything I want anytime I want it, but I'm choosing not to. And as I learn, I being the collective I choose it less because I appreciate feeling good and looking my best more than I do the consequences of eating that food that gives me 5 minutes of pleasure. And I think everybody's a little different on some people, as Robyn said earlier, need to completely eliminate certain things like sugar because they just go over the edge. And other people, they can thrive and have a little bit more. But I agree with you, Lillian, as we get healthier and healthier and reap the rewards of it, when we do indulge, our indulgences are not as over the top as they used to be. Something sweet might be, way less sugar and way smaller portions than we would have had 5 years ago because we train ourselves to say, this is enough, I'm easily satisfied. And we look at food differently too and see what's really in it, and it becomes less enjoyable, because it doesn't nourish our body. And that takes time, and that's a journey.
Yeah, I will tell you that, and not my proudest moment, but at the time it was. My husband and I went on a cruise, and it was a 7-day cruise, and there was the boardwalk. It was it was there, and there was this guy, cotton candy, and I don't know what it is about cotton candy. At the time, I was like, my eyes would roll back, and I'd go into a feeding frenzy, and seriously, it was a 5-foot cotton candy. And I ate the whole thing. Now, I was proud of myself, but you know what? That was the last time. It was before I changed my lifestyle. I've always been slender, but I always have made good choices. But at the time, I would say the cotton candy jumped into my mouth.
There you go.
All 5 feet of it. But I have never chosen that again. That was a choice I made. And I choose not to use sugar. Because the moment and Dr. Furman, who's been a guest teacher in our classroom since 2015 monthly, he's here always to share and teach us. And I follow a nutritarian lifestyle. He said that heroin is a gateway to sugar.
Yeah.
In other words, it is so addictive. And here's the thing. We celebrate with these addictive foods.
Yep.
And somehow we're made to feel less than if we're not eating that piece of cake, or you're not having that 10th glass of wine, or you're not, and there's a line in Eating You Alive where a doctor is like standing next to a coffin, and he basically says, here we are at a funeral, at a wake, eating the same foods.
Yes,
got that person in the coffin.
Right,
and we celebrate. And so we've got to change that. And sometimes we need to change our friends.
Yeah. When you can't always change your family, but you can change your friends. And it's a progressive journey where we eventually get to the place where we can settle in. And, a lot of foods are edible, but they're actually not nutritional. They're just edible.
Correct.
And I think it's perspective. You start to really appreciate the power of food.
Yes. And I have one last question before, and for those of you who have questions, you can type in a Q and write down your question. That way we can ask it before we go. But I noticed that in your elimination, you eliminate legumes. And Dr. Joel Fuhrman, of course, G-bombs, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds. The beans is very important because it offers the protein, the fiber, the carb, all in one. And so during that elimination, the purpose of eliminating legumes?
Because some people are very sensitive. Robyn is a great example. She literally cannot digest them even with digestive enzymes. And so you don't always know. A lot of people think that their digestive and other symptoms are normal. And so the only way to know is to bring them out. They are very high in starchy carbohydrate as well, which is not a bad thing. But again, so many middle-aged women are struggling to lose weight because their carbohydrate threshold has diminished or they've got insulin resistance. So we want them to choose the carbohydrates that work best for them. And that's the only way to know. It's not saying there are no, of the foods God made, there are no bad foods. There are just foods that don't necessarily work for you.
Exactly. What works for me may not work for you. So this is a tailored diet, a tailored elimination or process, I would like to say, a tailored process just for you. Again, why be okay to be a guinea pig for the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry and not a guinea pig for yourself where you can control it? And as you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. Again, I'm not against the pill, but once you start eating a healthy and start looking at, I want the next 50 years to be better than the first. When you start making those declarations, it's amazing how our life will change. And this is a different way to make that happen. So I want to thank you, Robyn and Danna, for being a part of this. And I am I'm looking forward to learning more as you guys dive into this and have more stories. And
Yes.
love to have you guys come back and share even more about the success stories and learn from those who had growth opportunities so that we can all learn from that. And so there's so many different ways that we can learn and grow together. So I want to thank you for teaching us from a place of your knowing and being vulnerable enough to saying, yes, this is where it came from. And this is how I fixed it. And this is how I thrive. So thank you so much for all the information that you've shared today. And I am thrilled. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that maybe we didn't talk about today?
We are honored to share. And as you know, it's such a broad subject, but our heart is just to come alongside those that are truly wanting to get to the next level of health and wellness and to know it is never too late. We know for a fact, even without doing things, doing it 50, 70% on plan, you can truly change your health and wellness.
Absolutely. Robyn, and is there anything you'd like to say?
I'm going to leave it with Danna because I have a guest at my door.
Okay. And we will say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Here we go. Thank you so much. That was funny.